Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. I'm glad, and I hope each and every one of you are doing well. Well, the verdict has come out, and many of you may remember A.J. Owens, who was killed by this woman who shot through her door and tried to claim it was all self-defense. And it absolutely was not self-defense. You know, she did something that did not have to be done. I'm going to go ahead and show you a video from ABC News. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. No, she absolutely don't deserve to ever get out of jail. She proven to herself to be a menace to her entire neighborhood. All right.
Ocala, Florida, where a jury has reached a guilty verdict in the manslaughter trial of Susan Lorincz. Lorincz, who is a white woman, was charged with first-degree felony manslaughter for fatally shooting her black neighbor, Ajike Owens. Lorincz allegedly shot Owens through a closed door after a dispute over children playing near her home. Let's listen to the verdict read just moments ago.
Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter. Did the state prove beyond a reasonable doubt that during the commission of the offense, the defendant personally used a firearm? Yes. So say we all, dated the 16th day of August, 2024.
There it is, the verdict. For more, let's bring in trial attorney and our legal contributor, Brian Buckmeyer. So, Brian, she was never charged for murder in this case, found guilty now of felony manslaughter. Why no murder charge?
Yes, so Terry, that's a big contention in this case when the prosecutors brought charges. The easiest thing that I can surmise in what the prosecutors told us is that they did not have the requisite information to prove the mens rea, as attorneys call it, or the guilty mind. The difference between murder and manslaughter, at least in these charges in Florida, would be that murder, the prosecution would have to show that without premeditation, that she showed reckless disregard for her human life. Some people say, yeah, shooting through a closed door does that, but the prosecutors didn't think they had enough, but they did have enough, clearly, for a manslaughter charge.
And, how did the jury reach this verdict? What was the key evidence in this case? And does it, given the racial component here, does it make a statement at all about safety and about all of those issues?
Yeah, so this was a self-defense case through and through. I mean, we heard a lot about the castle doctrine because Susan Lorincz is inside of her home when she discharged that firearm. But I think the issue that really turned this case for the prosecution was that of imminency, because an individual can use deadly force to protect themselves, especially in their home, and they reasonably believe that they may be subjected to death or serious injury. But the fact that that door was in between them, dead bolted and locked, negated some of that imminency. And I think that's how we got to this. Now, in terms of race, a lot of the racial epithets and curse words and arguments that Susan Lorincz was accused of but didn't come into the trial wasn't brought before the jury. So I think the race was there in the backdrop, but not so much in the forefront. But that could change come sentencing.
Well, let me ask you about that. So that's very interesting. That kind of evidence that was considered, I guess, too prejudicial for the jury to hear can now be brought into a possible sentence for Lorincz. What kind of sentence does she face?
Yes. So, Terry, manslaughter in the first degree, she faces up to 30 years in prison or 30 years of probation. And when I say that, I actually mean there is no bottom. So she could technically do 1 year of probation, or she could do 30 years of prison. Now, this is a 59-year-old woman. So 10, 15, 20 years, that could be the equivalent of a life sentence. And as I said, those racial epithets that she's accused of using against young children, that of A.J. Owens, could come in at sentencing and could amount to a higher jail sentence or prison sentence, for her.
Yeah, such a disturbing case. The jury reaching a guilty verdict in it. Brian Buckmeyer, as always on these matters. Thanks very much.
Okay, so you heard what they said, you know. Yeah, and I got some slides I want y'all to see because it has taken its toll, but jail take its toll on everybody. Jail in this society is pure hell. It really truly is. And they love their prisons here because in America, they make so much money off of prison. And because they make so much money off of prison, that's why so many innocent people go in there, because a big chunk of money comes from what I still call slavery, which is behind bars. And it's one thing to put people in jail, and you got the guilty people in jail. Here in America, they put an awful lot of innocent people in jail, just like they used slavery. And everybody, and let me tell you something. Everyone that went into slavery, everybody did not break Sabbath. Everybody did not turn on the Most High. There were people that went into slavery that were doing the right thing, but because everybody got punished, everybody had to go. And here in America, unfortunately, America puts way too many innocent people behind bars, and they don't give it a second thought. America got hell to pay. So this is Susan Lorincz. This is what she looked like when she first went into prison. This is what she looked like. We all remember her, right? And it just goes to show you the toll that going to jail in America can take on you. This is what she looks like now. And this is what? Shy of 2 years behind bars. And look at how fast she accelerated. And it just goes to show you that jail don't just mess you up psychologically. It takes a physical toll on you as well. And it does with our people, especially when you see how young a lot of our men, because it's mostly men, yeah, some women in there, but it's primarily men. And we see how young and youthful these men look when they go into jail. And by the time they get exonerated 30, 40, 50 years later, they look like broken old men. And you can tell, even if she gets out, this woman ain't never going to be the same, just like our people will get out. And some of, oh, I forgive you. I don't know how they can do that. But you can tell that person is never, ever, ever. It's almost like going in there just instantly sucks the life out of you. And you can see it has done it to her. It had literally sucked the life out of this woman. But her, I don't feel bad for. She deserves to be in there. You know, as you heard, they did not allow any of the racism that she was accused of, because there was a lot of people that accused her of racism, using the N-word on the children, calling the children slaves and stuff. So, but they said in the sentencing phase, they are going to allow that in. And I'm kind of glad, because one thing, AJ Owens' kids, that was one of the things they were talking about. And her kids can come forward at that time and tell what kind of names and racism this woman used on them, and telling them to get off of property that she didn't even own. And, she just lost her mind out there. But trust me, she ain't doing all that mess with them other inmates. You can best believe that. She ain't sitting up in there running her mouth to those inmates, you know? But yeah, she looked like she done aged 20 years in a short period of time. But it just goes to show you, jail in America is pure hell. And this place got hell to pay for putting so many innocent people in there. Y'all got hell to pay. And you best believe you are gonna pay. You are definitely gonna pay. And putting people in there for years and years and years over some petty mess like marijuana. And they're gonna put you in there for decades over marijuana. I mean, this place, man, when this place go down, we just need to find a hiding place, because America is going to get ugly on you. But see, they never did any kind of reform, because this prison system was their slavery, just like they didn't do no reforms on chattel slavery. They have never done no reforms on prison. Prison in this country has been used as a tool that they use to lie on people to get in there. Prosecutors hiding evidence that could have cleared a person. See, not only is it a terrible system, it has been heavily abused, not only by your prosecutors and judges and juries, also by the everyday average citizen that has lied, Karen and Darren, and made accusations that were completely false, that cost someone their freedom, and they had to go to jail. So the jail has been heavily, heavily abused in this country as well. The whole system is only in place to make money off of us. That's why they keep psychologically playing with you. You are the criminals. You are this. No, you know what? We're not. We're not any of those things. But see, they got to play the game of psychological warfare for centuries in this country. That's all they did. They played the psychological warfare to make us the boogeyman of all people on the planet. And if you're viewed as the boogeyman, then nobody's going to care that you get captured and thrown into their slave prison. And that's all it is. And who are these people to talk about some crimes and criminals and all the criminal activity going on in their group? Who are they to say that to us? Any of these groups. You know, I was looking at a video about a year ago, y'all, and I literally watched a carjacking in China. All right, all of y'all need to shut up. All of you other groups need to shut up. So, y'all, I'm glad she was found guilty, and she needs to get the maximum sentence because they said she was a menace in that neighborhood. She got in everybody's face. Everybody had some ugly encounter with this woman. So she is a menace to society and should remain in there for whatever life she got left. As far as I'm concerned, she don't ever need to get out. Get out and do what? No, keep her butt in there. So y'all, you see, she went in there with her hair dyed blonde, and she was kind of chubby then. Now she's thinner and gray haired and looked like she got more wrinkles on her face than when she first went in there. Yeah, she shot through the door. Yeah, absolutely. And that's not self-defense. If you had to shoot someone through a door, that was not self-defense. And not to mention the fact that she just knocked on the door. She didn't try to break the door down. She knocked on the door, told her to come out, and instead of coming out to talk to her, she decided to get a gun and just blast through the door. That's what she did. So no, that is not self-defense, y'all. When you do it that way, that's not self-defense. But you know, these days people call any damn thing self-defense. But her attorney, I did watch the closing arguments a few hours ago, and her attorney played like she was a victim in the whole thing. I said, isn't that so typical? Y'all do that all the time. She is, oh, she was scared. Oh, AJ was bigger than her. Oh my goodness. And I'm glad it didn't work. I'm glad that, look how big this black woman is compared to her. I'm glad that argument didn't work because that was her lawyer's argument. This big menacing black woman. Oh, and poor little Susan, who was also a little porker herself, but but she was the victim. I said, no, her shooting through that door, there is no way you can make a victim out of this woman. But her attorney tried real hard to make Susan here a victim. And I'm just glad it did not work. I'm glad it didn't work. She's getting exactly what she deserves. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the live stream. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll definitely come back together and do this again on another topic. Shalom, family.